Hello, I'm Diane Williams, and you have just tuned into the Crafty View, and my guest today is Jason Smith. There he is. Jason, this looks like what I used to write on a piece of paper and play hangman. Yeah, this is really unusual. It's sort of, I'm not sure. Tell me what this is. What am I looking at here?
This would be a pole lathe or a treadle lathe. Lathe is a very ancient tool, one of the oldest woodworking tools. I think you can trace it back to ancient Egypt, but basically the principle behind a lathe is turning a piece of wood in order to enable you to cut that wood in a either cylindrical shape or various curves in a uniform shape. So, for instance, chair legs and vases and all kinds of different things where you'd want a round shaped, I guess, consistent pattern would come from a lathe. So the original lathes, they're all different kinds. You can see some like in the Middle East where they actually use a bow lathe. So with one hand they got a bow wrapped around a piece of wood, and they're doing that, and it reciprocates wood, and it either with their other hand or with their feet, they're using their tools to shape the wood. And of course, some of them are very good at it. But it's amazing things you can do, and they've been doing for thousands of years. But so this is called a treadle lathe or pole lathe. So rather than a sapling or a spring pole that would give you the springiness to turn the object, the wood. In this case, I'm using bicycle inner tube, which has a very good springiness to it. Some people use bungees and things like that. You know, I've hooked up a knot out here, but if you find the proper sapling or pole, you can mount it and use that as your engine, I guess. Okay. Actually, the engine comes down here. My foot here is operating this, as you call it, the treadle. So the piece of, I'll demonstrate, give a better idea of how it works. So this is these two pieces are called Poppets, and they work on a wedge. So I can knock that out in this distance. I can, manipulate. So yes. Whatever. However big it is. So basically, I've got a piece of pear wood here, Bradford pear from probably the ice storm, I think. And so this cord is attached to this piece of wood, and it looks like a rotten piece of wood, but that's called bodock. That's the Osage orange, which the Osage Indians made bows out of. This is the sapwood on the outside, but if I were to carve down into that wood, you'd have this beautiful yellow, bright yellow wood that they say it'll last, that wood will last 10 years longer than stone.
Oh my gosh, that's forever.
It's deceptively rotten looking, but it'll last forever. It'll outlast this lathe. But so here's my piece of wood. And so on either end, I've drilled just a little hole with a little hand drill and then put a little oil in there. And so on one end, I put that in, and then with the string, so of course the string attaches to here, so you've got this
bungee type action.
Yeah. And so now I'm going to wrap it around. I think the magic number for this piece is about 3. And you can do more, but depending on how other things. So now I'm going to screw this in, and it's going to get kind of tight. And then I'm going to let off a little bit just to give me a little more freedom of motion. Yeah. So now, if you were to buy a lathe like an electric lathe, it would be a continuous drive lathe, meaning that the piece would be rotating
Constantly.
in the same direction constantly. So a foot lathe, this is a reciprocating lathe. You cut on the toward U stroke, and then you rest.
Okay.
So, and I like it. I've used a power lathe, and it's very fast, and you can do stuff real quick and whatever.
Do you make
but you
it
have
the
a
tool
little more
you
control
have?
on this because you can go real slow, and it depends, you know, so you just need sharp tools, and it's quiet, and you don't have to worry about thing going 500 revolutions a minute and hitting you in the head or something. But but then if you want a little cardio, you know, hey, I can get a little exercise here and go a little faster. But so every time you're cutting, you know, you cut and then you release, cut and release. So it's real, to me, once you get the hang of it, it's easy, but then it's also kind of a natural feeling, like I don't know, not a mantra, but just almost
You've become one with the
I
wood.
guess so. Yeah, but it's like you're breathing, like breath or something. You know?
Yes.
So, but so
You've got a rhythm.
Got a rhythm, exactly. And so this is a chisel, which I bought and just put it in this.
Okay,
piece
so
of wood.
you've
So
kind of
made
manipulated
nice
it and
to
made
get a
it your own.
Big handle, and use chisels, and I just have actually 2 turning tools today. I've got this gouge, nice gouge
Nice
that I
curved.
got, and so you do more kind of shaping with this, you know. So I think like this piece, you could. This is pear, so I'm not gonna make like a chair leg out of it or something. I don't. I'd be a little nervous about using pear for a chair leg. But for instance, this is a baluster lathe for a Windsor chair that I turned on this lathe. This is red oak, and so I'd be very confident using that as a chair leg. But of course, it's all kind of dirty now. But so.
Do you pencil mark that to determine where the various grooves are going to be?
Yeah, and I've got a template, like it's not very clear here, but this would be a Windsor chair leg, and I don't know if you can really see it too well. It's kind of dirty. I need to redo it. But so for each, let me do this. See if I was actually accurate. So for a chair leg, it'd be, I don't know if that turns up good or not, but say for instance, the leg, or this part would taper from 2 inches down to 7/16, and then this, which goes into the actual seat, would taper from I believe 1 inch to 5/8 of an inch, and then the rest of it's more almost decorative, but you know, of course you don't want to go too thin on the diameters. But yeah, you like these little grooves here. If I was marking stuff out, you know, I could just get a pencil and mark my kind of geographical points where I'm gonna do curves and stuff.
Would you hold the wood towards me, because I can see it better with this light?
So if I had a pencil, I would just put a pencil and you know, scribe the mark. But basically, I just really take another leg and just kind of more eyeball it. The precision points would be
Kinda like the way I cook, I eyeball it.
Oh, absolutely. It's no fun to make everything you like.
Prescriptive. Nice.
So that's how I got into wood turning. My friend got me interested in, hey, you need to build Windsor chairs. So, okay, I'll try that. So I finally got a lathe, and just a power lathe, and learned to do that. And so a lathe, it's you could fake someone out and say, I'm actually working here, but it's not working. It's just fun. It's like a little hobby.
Really?
There was I think it was a Tolstoy book. I can't remember. I think it was, I can't remember, but it was the Russian Prince or whatever, and I didn't read the book, but it was like they saw him in his turning room. You know, it was like a royal activity or something. That was his hobby. But it is a really, you know, wood turning is very satisfying. I do a lot of stuff with just natural, you know, not turning, just, for instance, that stool, you know, those are pecan legs and oak, and there's nothing turned on there. That's the natural shape of the wood, how it, no cutting across the grain or anything like that. It's all continued. That's just a, you know, a functional stool for me. And, but it's more organic, I guess, kind of stuff. And so I started woodworking. My friend was actually a member of the Craftsmen Guild, Scott Didlake, and he was in the guild, I don't know when he started, but he died in '94, I believe, and he built bonzas, Gourd banjos, so that's how I was introduced to woodworking and all of that. So, oh yeah, sorry.
Jason,
Hey.
tell me, when did you get started? How long have you been doing this?
The woodworking, as I was saying, my friend Scott Didlake was a member of the Craftsmen's Guild, and at that time, in the early '90s, I met him, and he was really at the forefront of building Gourd banjos, what he called bonzas, which would be the basically the original banjo that we know, but which actually came from Africa.
Yes.
The African instrument, of course, came through the slave trade, a lot of good and bad things, of course. But he wanted to recreate from his scholarship and experience playing the banjo and just his general historical knowledge and all that. He wanted to recreate and illuminate and you know, revere this wonderful instrument, and he wanted to recreate that original Gourd instrument that he knew was, in his opinion and mine too, had so much more sensitivity and I guess expression than what you'd think of, you know, maybe a modern banjo or something like that.
So that's his signature. What's your signature? What do you really enjoy making? Is it chairs and
I like
tables?
making just about anything. I like making the banjos. He taught me to build those, and when he died, his wife gave me all of his tools and all that. So he has all these great tools, some of which I know this draw knife here, but you know, hand planes and draw knives and just all kinds of stuff, you know, quality tools, and so you had a full set to work with, really. And over the years, you learn how to use them and all that. Oh, that's what he did, or whatever. Because he always said when he was learning to make bonzas, he was serving an apprenticeship to ghosts. You know, like he really got into it, and it was. So that's a big part of what because I play music. I play the banjo, study music in school and all that. And but I love the woodworking too. So I started doing the banjos and learned that, and then you kind of veered off a little into chairs, and then I started building a boat, and then I got into sailing, and then it's all downhill from there. So I'm building another boat, but still got to build some more banjos. We're working on that, and just kind of. Those boats take up your time, though.
They really do. I've seen boat builders, and I've seen some of pictures of their work.
Oh yeah. Well, some are more, of course. I guess mine would be more on the simple side of things. But well constructed and seaworthy.
Yes.
So, but you learn as you go along. So that's always fun.
You've been at this a long time, the 90s.
Yeah, off and on, and so maybe probably 10 or so years ago, I really made an effort to really do the banjos more seriously, and so that kind of, I don't know, got me going a little more. But it's not something that I've made, a considerable living doing, but it's something you can't,
You just can't stop it.
Yeah.
It's got you, man.
You
It's your lover.
There's always, but if
Wonderful.
you do it for that reason, you're not in it.
Yeah.
But
And this all comes apart, and you put it in your car.
This is so this is my first time to transport this one, but I built it for portability, and the design was on YouTube. This bodger, they call them in England. They're basically woodworking with hand tools like this. But Harry Rogers, and he designed this one. It's based on other models, I guess, but it was easy to build. You can break it down so easy, and I didn't realize all I had to do today was take the bed off.
Yes.
And of course, that brace down there, and then the treadle thing, and I can put all that inside my van, and then these two pieces I just put on top.
Nice.
So it was only about a 5-minute setup. So
Yeah.
that's pretty nice.
Yeah.
So, anyways, but.
Really cool. And you have a piece inside. I've taken a picture of it that I'll share.
All right.
It's like a horse bench. What do you call that?
Yeah, that's just a bench with a table on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it actually, I didn't know what I was going to do. The bench part is red oak or white oak, and with the forelegs on it at first, it looked just like an aardvark. So it was a really cool looking thing. But then I went to got the table and another leg, so there's still an aardvark in there. And then that one, traditional Windsor chairs use milk paint, which is the casein, which is the ingredient in milk. And can't tell you the chemistry,
but does that help seal it or
they
something?
add the pigment to that, and then you add water, and it infiltrates the wood, so it doesn't just coat the wood. It like
Seals
soaks in, and then I've read, when you paint something with that, I can't remember the terminology, but the way it reflects light over time would be different. So it's like there's I guess, because since it goes with the contour of the wood, since it's like, rather than just coating it, I think you get more reflectivity or something like that, where you get it's a different kind of visual experience.
How cool is that? How long have you been a member of the Guild?
Let me think here.
Long
probably
time.
like 6 years or something. Not very long. My friend John Jackson, who died right after COVID, he was a friend of my dad's, and then we became friends. He started building Gourd banjos and other instruments in his retirement, and he and I joined together. So he got me to join.
He got you in,
and we got to attend one of the
Chimneyville at the end of the year, the craft show.
Booth, yeah.
Nice,
So
nice.
And actually, yesterday, I don't have anything right here, but his son said, "Come on over. We got all the tools from his workshop. Just pick what.
Come on, hang out. Oh, pick what you want, really?
Oh well, it's too much. So I got a lathe, a power lathe that he had built. So I couldn't pass that one
Oh
up.
my gosh, you got to create some more stuff.
And all this great wood, so
Yeah.
so I got to really get to work with that kind of stuff.
Let us watch you do some of your work here.
Oh yeah, sure. Let me see here. I'm going to shape a little bit, then I'll smooth. So this is I think this piece, what I'm going to do is make it, I've done one before, but I'm going to put some legs, and then this will connect to a table. And then since I work with gourds, put a gourd on the table, and that's a bird bath.
Okay.
Put it out in the yard.
Nice.
So with this pear wood, I wouldn't put it out there without any coating. I use tung oil, which is waterproof. Also, I'd like to see how that does with the. So, anyways, I'm just kind of doing I did a couple beads here, and I think I'll just leave it there. But I might give that a little contour. I'm doing left-handed now, but with a lathe, generally, like you want to go from big to small if you can, because you're going up. Like if there's a curve here and the wood's, you'll kind of tear out.
Just flat.
Right. You tear out you can tear it out a little bit. So I'm just kind of generally shaping here, and then actually what I'll probably do, so I can go the other way easier.
You ever get a splinter?
No, just only when I'm not doing this, but like, I don't know if I'm stretching or something, and I just pick something up,
And not thinking,
but never
yeah.
when I'm working.
Okay.
This is being careless, but I did early on. I pulled a chisel towards me one time, and you don't want to do that. Never ever pull a chisel towards you. It's just,
Yeah.
nick
Your finger.
my finger pretty bad.
You have to sharpen your tools from time to time?
Absolutely, and that's really the secret, the key to any woodworking is get a good tool that's going to hold an edge. This is Ashley Isles, not an expensive gouge, but very, very well built quality steel. And so to get this edge straight, because you don't want any curve, you want it straight, flat. Even though it's curved like that, from here to here, you want it flat. So I probably spent one day,
Just doing
5 hours doing that,
Yeah.
getting it there. And then when you got it the way you want, then you can just kind of touch it up. But so the more time you spend doing that, the better. And then I got the Japanese water stones. Doing those, it just, to me, for me personally, you can really, really get a sharp edge. Yeah, let's see here.
So what are you doing now?
I'm going to turn it around, and so I can go downhill the way I kind of like. So I'll wrap this around 3 times. Actually, I'll do it 4 because it's on the smaller part of it now. And then I build my own handle. got the torch.
Always thinking, what can I use? Cool.
Let's see here, get this going right. Gotta get it lined up better.
So have you ever taken any classes to learn to do this? Have you gone to like John C. Campbell Folk Art School or?
I haven't, and it's not because I hadn't wanted to or anything, but I just haven't. I've kind of mostly learned from books, and then and friends.
And YouTube has been a great
university.
teacher, yes.
I've got a friend who's a Katrina transplant. He's an expert woodworker and metal worker and everything. he's the one that got me interested in the Windsor chairs. But he's very instrumental, knowledgeable, and has, you know, showed me a lot and taught me a lot. So good resource, and people like Dr. Jackson, and but yeah, YouTube and books especially. I like, you know, getting on YouTube, but reading a book is to me, because there's some great books out there, illustrators and stuff that you might not have heard of until someone tells you about it, you know. And then some books like I inherited from Scott, like old ways of working wood, things like that. I'm having more trouble here.
Are you a member of any networks?
No, just Facebook. I don't know if I'm a member of that, but I used to be a member of the American Banjo Fraternity, but I'm not anymore. I need to do that. I am a member of the Mississippi Gourd Society. Okay. Yeah, and of course the Craftsmen's Guild. Yeah. So hopefully the Gourd Society, they have an annual festival that I don't know. Hopefully it'll pick back up in the fall, maybe. But,
is this a craft, or is there any part of this craft that is teachable to students, to children?
Oh, absolutely. I think, and kids love this, you know, like a lathe or any kind of woodworking, and they always want to, can I try or whatever. And of course, with tools and draw knives and stuff, I'm not a trained, you know, woodworking teacher. I guess if it was like one kid and their parent there or something like that. But there's a whittling system called Sloyd. It was the Swedish style, and I've heard of a teacher teaching a class with these 5-year-olds, you know, and they've like 6 or 7 of them. They got a sharp knife and a piece of wood. And they're, I don't know, you got to be a really good teacher
to work with children and knives.
But if they learn to respect the tool, I mean, that's really the key. But I've done some, just, you know, I'll be at a festival or something, you know, if I've got a plane or something that you're not going to get a sharp edge and cut yourself, they could try out the plane or something like that.
Great.
But if a kid doing a lathe or something, that would, I mean, they used to be, I guess they used to do it in shop class, but it's something that, under the right conditions, I think it'd be a great thing for kids to.
I guess people would say you're pretty messy. This stuff.
Me? No, not me.
Not you? You're not messy? It's like hard to control the shavings, isn't it? Yeah.
It's well, you just create so many in a short period of time.
Yeah. So I guess if you ever present it somewhere, you'd have to say, "Well, man, I'm gonna have all this debris on the ground. Is that okay?"
Don't light a match.
Don't light a match. They're not smoking around there, are they?
But, when I get really good shavings, especially if I'm doing the draw knife too, it's like they're like snowflakes, and like you could do something with each long shaving, you know.
Oh, I know it.
Thousands of them.
I just grabbed a bag full right here, and I'm a mixed media fiber artist, so I'm gonna put it in my designs.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, this is great.
So now I'm just smoothing it out and kind of going with the general.
Yeah.
As it gets smoother, of course, like the shavings get.
It's like sharpening a pencil on a larger scale.
You know, you can regulate, of course, the cut.
And your eyeball.
There you go, a lot thinner.
Yeah. Oh, you by leaning your knife.
Yeah, just.
Or your
blade. If I want a little deeper cut, you know, kind of go down a little further.
Cool. What would you say to someone that they're watching you? You know, for me, it kind of looks easy, but after all you've explained, I know it's not that easy. But what would you say to someone that wanted to get started doing something like this? Where should they start?
like for wood, just take for instance, if you wanted to learn to turn wood, find a friend who has a lathe, maybe for one, but you know, lathes aren't really all that expensive. You can buy cheaper. It's more gratifying if you build your own. I mean, you know, anytime you build your own, you've invested that energy into it. Main thing really, watch someone, you know, get online, read a book. A picture's worth 1,000 words, of course, with this. Like when I watched my friend just turn a leg like that, you know, he had done, you know, he had worked on a project in New Orleans where they had to turn the same leg, you know, 1,000 times or something.
Oh, really?
So it's just kind of muscle memory. But so I'd say watch someone, and then the real key, I think, is if your tools aren't sharp and properly sharpened, and a sharp tool means that both edges meet, you know, and you got a little burr there, so then you know those two edges are met, and then you hone it or whatever. But if your tools aren't sharp, because I'm learned from experience, I didn't know it. Every time I sharpen, it's like, oh, these tools weren't sharp, you know. But so you always get better at it. But the sharper your tools are, and you know, you don't have to have real expensive tools. This gouge was, I think it was $30 or $40.
Okay.
Which is, you know, not much for a tool. This was, I don't know, $15, and then I mounted it in my own little handle. Okay. But to me, a sharp tool
it's important.
Is extremely important, because if it's not, you get frustrated, and then so learn to sharpen that tool. Okay. And that goes for any woodworking tool, because if they're not properly sharp, you'll get frustrated. You'll get set up. But if they are, it's very you know, rewarding and everything.
Let me ask you, if someone wanted to get in touch with you, I know they could contact the Guild, but do you have a website? You said you're on Facebook.
Yeah, I've got a website. It's dedicated mostly to my banjos and other stuff I've done. It's called jbirdbanjo.com. Yeah, World Wide Web. Jaybird, like Jaybird. That was my kind of childhood name. Banjo.com. Or you just, you know, pull up Jason Smith Gourd banjos.
And then your contact information is there and everything.
And if my phone number's not on there or something, of course you could
call here. Great.
That's about, just my website. Got a CD on there, some videos, just you're supposed to music stuff, all that. So
I can't wait to go look. Yeah, well, we all do. Yes, okay. That's okay. Well, this has been great, and I want to thank you, Jason Smith, everybody. Check him out, jbirdbanjo.com. And thank you so much. Any final words, or?
Oh, well, I can't. There was something I was thinking of, but now I can't remember. But keep turning. I don't know. I know what it was. There was a book about wood turning. His name was Payne. He was a British one, Pain, and that's a great small book about wood turning. And he had all these little funny expressions. He says, because he said he knew a turner who was blind. You know, if you can, I mean, seriously, you can turn. You
get a feel for it, yes.
And he said he loved it so much he'd be turning in his grave.
Oh my gosh! Thank you for that. That was great.
I thought that was pretty funny.
Thank you for tuning in to the Crafty View, and our guest today was Jason Smith. Have a nice day.
All right, thank you.